CultPop!
What's up to all our sidekicks and henchmen out there in the Geek Nation? My name's Noel, and today we're going to do something a little more than a Thunder Round. We are going to talk about a brand new original graphic novel that comes out this week by creators Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Those of Criminal fame, or Kill or Be Killed, or Incognito, or Fatale, essentially, or The Fade Out. So many things that they've worked on together, all of them being somewhere in the category of noir, whether they're dealing with Cthulhu monsters, curses, or westerns. And so it's a bit noir feeling. This time with their project, which is Reckless, like I said, comes out this week, available at your local comic shops, is their take on pulpy crime fiction. And by pulpy, I mean the old pulp serials, like stuff like, imagine like old television shows about a down and out PI who just has a phone number and takes on cases. Of course, with these two creators, it's a little grittier than 70s television. However, it's got that flavor, that feel, in a more like realistic way. So I wanted to take a couple of minutes to actually just talk about this. It's really quite great right off the bat. No spoilers. If you are familiar with these creators, if you like what they've done before, this is very much for you. If you are a friend of noir or just any kind of like pulp fiction, not in the Tarantino sense, but just in the sense that old detective stories, older movies, old TV shows, the romanticized kind of private eye, but infused with late 70s, early 80s aesthetic. So this character of Ethan Reckless is a former hippie, current ne'er-do-well who operates out of an abandoned movie theater, and just has a 800 number that people call and leave messages on if they've got a problem. Whether it's getting a car repoed, or someone owes them money, or their kid fell into with a gang, stuff like that. He is just hands for hire, word of mouth, which is a premise ripe for multiple stories, which this apparently is. This is the first edition of what they're promising. They, as in the creators, are promising to be 3 original hardcover graphic novels in the year of 2021, so within a year. So this first one comes out at the end of 2020. The next one, I believe, is set for May. That is a relatively Herculean effort when you take into consideration how long it takes for artists to work and stories to be told, and the whole publication process. It's pretty great. But in the back matter here, it actually Ed Brubaker explains that they went with this format and this publishing style and schedule to mimic the old pulp novels of the late 60s, early 70s. The idea that there would be 3 or 4 thin novellas every single 3 to 4 months, or there'd be one every single 3 to 4 months, with meaning 3 or 4 a year of this character's ongoing adventures, and almost just like a grittier, a dirtier, or a street level James Bond, which again, this kind of is. It's got a lot of real world references, or, real world as in the 70s style references, about the post-Vietnam War efforts, what life was like after that for the hippies that aged out of their commune existence, and actually in a lot of domestic terrorism. I know that was pretty much just like a hodgepodge of words that doesn't give you any kind of idea of what this is about or the descriptors of it, but I want to keep it a secret. This was a wonderful read. It is about 170 pages. It is a full-sized story, full-size graphic novel. The printing is spectacular. It's got a really, really nice kind of matte finish to it. This will look great on the shelf. It is standard sized, not oversized hardcover. Some of their hardcovers have been oversized. This is standard. And I actually, it's great in this format. The writing is spot on. The art is great. It's a little looser than a lot of Sean Phillips' other stuff. I don't think that was that it was done faster. It's just he chose to have a little bit of a looser line as opposed to slight more detail. It very much works with this. The only times that it doesn't is every once in a while there's a character standing in a doorway or a figure in the distance, and it looks a little stilted, as in maybe that was a quick reference drawing. I'm not sure, but sometimes it took me out a little bit, but it only did because I'm very familiar with a lot of his other work, and this was still great. It's when creators are so consistent and so good all the time, little nitpicks usually kind of bubble to the surface because you're just so familiar, or you're very aware of how good they are. It's like, when you're always working at a high level, sometimes the little stuff it screams a little louder. But that is by no way a negative thing to knock at this book. It's fantastic. Retails at $24.99. Like I said, it's a full-size graphic novel. This would be the equivalent of about 7 issues of a series, if that's any kind of indication. 7 issues of like a comic. I'm without actually getting to the specific plot points and the twists and stuff in the story, I can't really say much more than this was a delightful read. This was like easing back into a very comfortable old film, about a time before cell phones, before Google searches, when people needed help and they didn't know where to go, and the ramifications of that are sometimes pretty dirty. So yeah, I would highly recommend this just in time for the holiday season. If you know anybody, whether they even just like comics or not, or if they're just willing to explore the things that this medium can do, like I would very much get something like this for my dad, who's familiar with the source material that this kind of falls into the genre of, but he doesn't read comics. But this would be something that kind of bridges that gap because it's just so well done. But besides that, I can't say anything else because it'd be spoilers. I'm not sure if the other guys are going to get a chance to read this week, but I would highly recommend it to all of them if they're watching this. But yeah, besides that, be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what you thought of this book when you get a chance to read it, or if you're considering reading it. I'll throw in some other recommendations down there too if you want some in regards to their work or stuff that's like their work, because these are two great creators. Ed Brubaker used to write a lot of Marvel and DC, and for the last, it might be a decade now, he has exclusively been doing creator-owned stuff, and it's pretty much exclusively been with Sean Phillips. So every time we see their two names together, it's just like, again? But then I read it, and it's just like, again. I like it. But, I'm a sucker. Join us on Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we live stream our podcast, the CultPop Podcast. We talk about this week's comics, review them, as well as pop culture news. This past weekend, we spent 2+ hours just talking about Disney, Star Wars, and Marvel, because they just dropped so many announcements. But yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for spending the last couple of minutes with me. I'm sorry I didn't tell you all that much about this, but I'd really love for you to read it yourselves. Just know that it's worth it. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much. Bye.
CultPop!